Welcome, my name is James Dearsley on behalf of What House, and we're here again for another of our one-to-one discussions. And I'm here very sort of fortunately joined by Duncan Pattinson from the We Help You Too company. And he's talking about a very exciting initiative that they've started to run, and an innovation, I'll go so far as to say, in the world of online conveyancing, which is obviously a very up-and-coming industry. So, Duncan, why don't you tell us sort of shortly what you've done and how it helps everybody?
Okay. Hello. Yes, we had a business model that was about helping people. It was about actually turning that complex process into easy steps. The conveyancing that we've got is a panel that is actually online. You can actually get, in fact, an instant quote online, but if the quote is fully detailed and explains everything when it comes to conveyancing.
And I think it's quite important, isn't it? Because it's my understanding, I mean, we've actually put this into the What House site, so we'll screenshot that in a second. But basically, anybody can include this on their site, right? It's
anybody,
effectively a widget.
Yeah, that's right. It's only 8 lines of code. You can put it onto any website, and it works.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little screen share so people can see it in action on the What House site, because what we wanted to do with What House is make everything as simple as possible and basically give as much information to possible clients as soon as they can, and basically within the same website, and that's key. So I'm just here on the onto the What House website, and for people who want to sort of access this, you can go into the advice section and into the Find a Conveyancer. Now, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, this is effectively your widget on...
That's right, there's a widget here, and if you are purchasing, you just actually hit the purchase button and out comes the information. So when you hit that, it will load all the details, and then you enter some details, which is obviously all there and detailed.
Okay.
Example, enter 1 for number of buyers, purchase price 300,000. You put in a postcode, which you've done, fantastic, and the purchase property freehold, and then you can do a search by a national or a radius kind of search.
Okay, so you get through and you get the whole list of various different things for people to sort of fill in, and what I like is you've got all of these different schemes, so the Help to Buy scheme, and with buy to let or purchase, repossession, auction. So you've got a whole raft of different criterion that people can use in here. So I'm just going to sort of go quickly through it all. So in a sense, what I quite like about this is if I'm right, I haven't had to enter any details whatsoever yet, have I?
No, and that's important. If you enter any kind of personal details early on, you are going to get a phone call. So there are a number of people out there who are offering a similar thing. And when you enter your personal details, you will get inundated with phone calls. This doesn't do that. You are going online and comparing quotes at your leisure. And only when you're happy do you then actually move it forward.
I think that's it. I mean, because obviously the online conveyancing world, I mean, you've got the likes of Vayo and other competitors out there at the moment who are doing this. But I mean, this, I suppose, is what you're saying is a massive differentiator, is that you've almost got what I would call the subtle sale, the secondary sale, which is you want to get people feeling comfortable with the purchase and saying, well, actually, hang on a second, I really like this property. How much are all the additional services going to cost me? But I don't want to have to sort of give everybody my details all the time. And that is, I think, is a big frustration out there at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, you have to be careful. If you are giving any information out, you're going to get a phone call, because everyone is about you making a sale. However, when it comes to conveyancing, you need to understand your affordability. There are so many people that are going into property and buying it, and they don't understand, and they are pushed into something, and then you actually get a high kind of fallout. The focus really is that when you are buying property from estate agents or from online or whatever you're doing, you want to ensure that you get a completion from all that work that you're doing. If you don't get a completion and you can't afford it because you can't, then obviously it's going to cause you problems. So you're going to actually waste an awful lot of money. So the purpose really is to ensure that if you're doing it in your own leisure and you're not under pressure, you will understand it a lot better. You can take advice as you go through it.
think that is one of the most useful things you could have said, because it is. I mean, and I'm going to quote something you've put in a press release to us recently, which is, we're focused on making the customer experience less stressful for potential clients looking for a lawyer to act for their property transaction. And really, that's what you've summed it up by saying, isn't it? I mean, if you put a less sort of stressful sort of situation at bay, you're not asking for any details. You're basically giving people information to let them make their decision. And if I just screen share that section again, because I think it was very important, and you'll forgive me, I haven't clicked through on this, but it's only, so I'm looking here, Murray Smith's solicitors in West Yorkshire. I'm looking into the details of the quote, and it's only when I go into select the quote or instruct the solicitor or even email that I'm actually request any details.
Correct.
So, I mean, I'm presuming, and forgive me on this, I'm presuming that obviously from a conveyancer's perspective, from a legal side, it must be very attractive for them, because anybody that is actually saying, actually, I am interested in your solution, the conversion rate must be very, very good for them as well. So it's a win-win, right?
The conversion rate is extremely high, but also, amazingly, the fallout is extremely low, which you would expect. There is a correlation between people who are happy when they are choosing their conveyancer and if it actually goes through. So that is a key thing, because it is the only industry. Whereas if you're actually making something in a factory and you kept on actually breaking things, or there was a lot of issues, you'd actually sort it out. In housing, there is a extremely high, there is an awful lot of people who are falling out, and it is extremely expensive. So the industry has to get better, because there is a lot of wasted time that goes on in buying a house. So anything that is easy and it isn't complex, and if you look at the conveyancer quote, issues out there in the market is that if you haven't got a search pack that covers all counties, that when you are taking away a quote from other people, the first thing a consumer gets, a home buyer, investor, is, I'm sorry, it's going to be additional money because you're in a different county. We haven't got that. We've got a search pack that covers England and Wales.
Okay, so just sort of following on from that point, you mentioned about obviously these search packs and understanding it a little bit better. Just as a direct question away from from your platform for a second, I would presume from a consumer's perspective, obviously with What House being a new homes portal, is it easier from a conveyancer side and possibly cheaper for people to be buying new homes properties or resale properties, or is there not a lot of difference between them?
If you are buying a new home, it should be easier, because the amount of searches that goes on is far less. Because you've got a builder at the start who has a commercial search, and you've got individual kind of searches that are managed in all the plots. So it should be, in fact, cheaper. It should be easier and cheaper.
I love the word should.
It should. Now, the reason I'm saying should is that we are working on a search pack that will be much, much better for, in fact, new build and for investors.
Fantastic. All right, so we'll use should as an operative word for now. But anyway, look, Duncan, I want to thank you for your time, and for anybody out there who actually wants to look at this home buyer conveyancing panel a little bit closer, please do go to the whathouse.com website, go onto the advice panel on the far right hand side, and click on the Find a Conveyancer. I mean, certainly, it's very, very useful for our consumers out there, but equally, if you are an agent, a developer who wants to look at this, I mean, you heard it from Duncan yourself there, it's 8 lines of code, which I'm assuming, and forgive me, Duncan, I'm assuming any web developer should be able to.
Any website.
8 lines of code, there we go. All right, well, look, thanks ever so much for your time, and that completes another of our one-to-one discussions here with the whathouse.com website. And I hope you'll join me for the next one. So, Duncan, thank you ever so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.